Welcome to the second video in building your own home practice. Last week, if you missed it, we worked on the Surya Namaskars or sun salutations. Hopefully, if you didn't miss it, you've been practicing them every single day. Sun salutations are great for building the warmth in our body, creating the mobility that we need to move into more rigorous practice. This week, we're going to focus on the foundational standing poses, moving in and out using our vinyasa to move from one pose to the other pose. So hopefully you guys are excited. I hope you guys are consistent in your practice because that's really what the key is here, is to be consistent practicing every day or every other day, making sure you're showing up for yourself on the mat to move through these poses. So let's meet at the top of the mat in standing. We're going to practice a couple of Surya Namaskar A's to warm our body up, and then a couple Surya Namaskar B's to continue to warm our body up even further, and then we'll move into the standing poses. Standing at the top of the mat, big toes to touch. We're going to start in that really strong Tadasana position. So look down at your toes, lift all 10 toes up off the mat, spread them wide, and then start to lay them against the mat. Shift your weight from the balls of the feet to the heels until you find that balance point directly over the arches, and then start to move left to right, alternating the hips, dipping down and then dipping back up until you find a perfect balance between the left and the right foot. Inhale the shoulders up towards the ears, and then exhale, allow them to drop down the spine, giving them a little squeeze there at the bottom. Palms are facing out, and the hands aren't passive, but they're not so active that we're grasping at the air. Crown of the head is reaching towards the ceiling, and the chin is parallel towards the mat. Pull the low belly in and up as you tuck the bones slightly down towards the earth. Strong, rooting down like a mountain, Tadasana. On inhale, swoop the arms up overhead, palms to touch. If your neck is okay, look up at the thumbs. Exhale, hinging from the hip points, forward fold. This may be the first forward fold of the day, so be generous in that knee bend to allow the belly to get to the thighs. On inhale, bring the fingertips up to the shins, and the crown of the head reaches towards the top of the room, and the tailbone reaches towards the back. We have a nice flat spine here. On exhale, returning the hands to the mat, step back or hop back, high plank. This is where your vinyasa comes in. If we remember from last week, we have two options here. First option is to start to bend the elbows towards the back side of the mat, squeezing them into the rib cage until we come halfway down. This is called chaturanga. This is our first option. Second option is to drop the knees and then the chest as you bend the elbows, and then the chin. This is called knees, chest, and chin. From knees, chest, and chin to continue in your vinyasa, you would drop the hips down and lift the heart, keeping a generous bend in the elbows, moving the heart between the shoulders for baby cobra. And then you would exhale, roll over the toes, and push the hips up and back for downward facing dog. If you're taking the vinyasa of choice that is chaturanga, you exhale down through chaturanga, keep those elbows in tight towards the rib cage, inhale up through up dog. Tops of the feet are on the mat, hands are on the mat, and that is the only point of contact. We're still moving the heart center through the shoulders. And then on exhale, we would roll over the toes, shifting the hips up and back. From here on out, I will consider that as your vinyasa. So taking whichever variation is suitable for you in your practice. Here in down dog, our hips are lifting high. Maybe even come up onto the tiptoes to get the hips just a little bit higher. Pull that low belly in and up and start to move the rib cage towards the quadriceps. And then as though you have weights on your heels, allow the heels to sink down in towards the ground. They may not touch It just really depends on where your body is at this morning or this afternoon or wherever you are right now. In this shape, we look like an upside down V, and the head drips towards the floor. You can check in and see if both ears will touch either bicep here. And then allow the heart just to sink down a little bit more. On your next inhale, look between the hands and step or hop all the way to the top for a halfway lift. Bringing the fingertips up the shins, flat spine. Exhale, folding over the thighs. Inhale, rising all the way up, palms overhead, looking at the thumbs. And exhale, closing out the Surya Namaskar A, hands at heart center, Tadasana. We'll go ahead and do that 2 more times, 1 breath, 1 movement, allowing our body to really get in the flow, really warm up before we start into our standing series. Inhale, hands up, look up. Exhale, hinge from those hips, forward fold, belly to thigh. Inhale, halfway lift, flat spine here. Exhale, make your way back through high plank, lowering down through your vinyasa. Inhaling through up dog or baby cobra, and exhaling downward facing dog. Downward facing dog is used as our resting position here. We refine our breath, make sure we're inhaling and exhaling equally through the nostrils. We reground down and center ourselves, regaining our focus by keeping our gaze steady. The gaze point can be directly at the center of your mat, or maybe you want to shift the gaze up towards your navel. We're going to give a slight tuck to the chin here to allow the gaze to go towards the navel. And then on inhale, looking between the hands and making your way to the top for a halfway lift. And exhale, hinging from those hips, allowing your stomach to drape over the quadriceps, forward fold. Inhale, rising all the way up, hands up, look up. And exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, hands up, look up. Exhale, dive over your hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or hop back, high plank. Lowering all the way through your vinyasa. Inhaling up dog. Exhaling down dog. Focus on your breath here, bringing it to the parts of the body that you need the breath to support. Maybe you're looking for a little bit more openness or more strength. Guide with intention the breath to those areas. On inhale, look between the hands. Make your way to the top of the mat for a halfway lift. Flat spine. Exhale, release over the thighs, forward fold. Inhale, rising up, hands overhead, look up, and exhale, closing out the Surya Namaskar A's, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Moving on to Surya Namaskar B, getting a little bit more heat going, get a little bit more mobility in those hip flexors. Inhale, bend the knees, drop the hips, arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs, dive over the thighs, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat spine. Exhale, hop or step back, chaturanga. Lowering down, lifting up on inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Pivoting that right foot at a 45-degree angle, pull the left foot in between the hands, bend into the left knee, and on inhale, rise all the way up, hands overhead, palms to touch. Warrior one, keep weight in that outer edge of the back foot, pull the right hip forward, and push the left hip back, squaring everything to the top of the mat. Your gaze can be out in front of you, or maybe you want to look up at the thumbs. Keep the breath steady, moving in and out through the nostrils. On exhale, look down at the left foot, bringing the hands down to frame. Pivot on the right toes to bring them forward, and the left foot comes back to meet the right for high plank. Lowering down through your vinyasa, inhaling through up dog or baby cobra, and exhaling into downward facing dog. Pivoting the left foot to a 45-degree angle, pull the right foot in between the hands, bend the right knee, and on inhale, rise all the way up, hands overhead, palms to touch. Warrior one. Pull that left hip forward, right hip back, square everything to the top of the mat. Look down, is the knee directly over the ankle, sink a little bit more into the hips. And on exhale, look down at that right foot, framing it with both hands. Pivot the left toes to face forward, right foot to meet left, high plank. Lower down through your vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. The body should be feeling nice and warm by now. We're getting some movement in. Our breath is moving with each flowing asana that we're doing. This is sort of like the conditioning for the rest of the series that we go through when we go through our practice. On inhale, look between the hands and make your way to the top of the mat for a halfway lift. Exhale, dive over those thighs for forward fold. Inhale, rising all the way up. Hands up, bend the knees, drop the hips, chair pose. And exhale, straighten the legs, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, arms up, palms to touch, drop the hips, bend the knees, chair pose. Exhale, diving over the thighs, hands to the mat, forward fold. Inhale, gliding the fingertips up the shins, crown of the head reaching forward, halfway lift. Exhale, make your way back through high plank, lowering down your vinyasa. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Pivot the right foot to a 45-degree angle, pulling the left foot in between the hands, bend the knee, rise up, hands overhead, Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1. Check in with the hips, square everything to the front side of the mat. Exhale, look down at the left foot, framing it with both hands. Pivot on those right toes to bring them forward. Left foot back to meet right. High plank, lowering down through your vinyasa. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pivoting the left foot to the 45-degree angle. Pull that right foot in between the hands. Bend the right knee. Inhale, rise all the way up. Warrior 1. Exhale, look down at that right foot, framing it with both hands. Pull that right foot back to meet the left, high plank, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Find stillness and steadiness here in down dog. Keep your gaze smooth and easy, either at the navel point or down at the mat right below you. On your next inhale, look between the hands, make your way to the top of the mat for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, drop the hips, Utkatasana. Exhale, straighten the legs, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Let's move into our standing poses now. Inhale that left foot back behind you. As it drops behind you, the foot lands at a 45-degree angle. The right toes are still facing towards the front side of the mat. Inhale the arms up to a T shape, and exhale, start to reach your right arm out in front of you. When you can't reach any further, go ahead and place the hand either on the shin, the ankle, or maybe wrap the peace fingers and thumb around the big toe. Inhale the left arm up towards the sky. Strong lines of energy between left fingertips and right fingertips. Your gaze can be out in front of you, or if neck permits, gazing up at the left thumb. Triangle pose or Trikonasana. We're pressing into the mat with the right foot, engaging the quadricep and protecting the hamstring. Hamstring is lengthening. Our left hip pulls back slightly, pulling that right hip under us to keep us square to the side edge of the mat. On inhale, engage all of your leg muscles and pull yourself back up through center. Pivot on the right heel until the toes face the side edge of the mat. Now both toes are sort of at a 45-degree angle. You may feel a little bit pigeon-toed here. Place the hands on the hips. Inhale the heart high, maybe squeezing the shoulder blades together, squeezing the elbows back towards one another, and then exhale, hinging from the hip points. Allow the crown of the head to reach towards the earth. Hands can come down towards the mat or maybe along the ankles. Also, if you have a block handy, it's kind of nice to go ahead and grab the block and place the hands on the block, allowing the crown to still reach down towards the earth. The weight is more in the toes than it is the heels. So play around here. Shift your weight between heels and toes, and then find a nice, I don't know, maybe 70-30, 70 in the toes and 30% in the heels. You might feel like you're going to fall forward, but remember, you have your hands down here. This keeps our hips directly over where the ankles would be if they were under us. On your next inhale, halfway lift, and take an exhale here, shaking your head yes and no, allowing the blood to run back down from the head and into other parts of the body before rising up. And then press into the legs, strong legs, rising all the way up back to center. This time pivoting on the left heel, facing those left toes back, and the right foot is still at a 45-degree angle. Inhale the arms up to a T shape, and exhale, start to reach out over towards the left side. When you can't reach any further, place the hand on the shin, the ankle, or maybe clasping the big toe with the peace fingers and the thumb. The right arm shoots straight up towards the sky. Neck permitting, you may look up at your right thumb or just out in front of you. If you were to be pressed in between two panes of glass, that is the way our body looks here in triangle pose. We're completely square to the side of the room. We can help by pushing that right hip back and pulling the left hip forward slightly. 2 more breaths here. Feel into the left hamstring, creating space there. And then on inhale, rising all the way up using strong legs. Pivot the left toes to a 45-degree angle. Setting up once again for a nice wide leg forward fold. Exhale, hinging from the hips, diving over the thighs. Allowing the hands to come down to the mat and the crown of the head to release down towards the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Take your exhale here. And then strong legs bring you all the way back up through center. Pivot the right toes to face forward and then bring the left foot to meet the right. Tadasana. Inhale, arms up, palms together. Look up. Exhale, forward fold, hinging from the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, make your way back through high plank, lowering down through your vinyasa. And then inhale, up dog or baby cobra. Exhale, down dog. On your very next inhale, lift the right leg high for 3-legged down dog. Try to get the big toe towards the sky and the pinky toe towards the earth. This is going to keep your hips more square towards the mat. On exhale, look between the hands as you pull that right foot in between the hands, straighten the right leg out, and drop the left foot at a 45-degree angle. You may have to shorten your stance just slightly here, so pull that left foot in just a little bit more. Place the left hand on the outside of the right foot. Right arm shoots up towards the sky. We're twisting here over towards the right. For revolved triangle, the gaze can be out towards the wall or maybe up at the fingertips here. Pull the low belly in and up to create more space for a twisting motion. That's going to activate the core so that the twist comes from the core and not from any torque that you're creating with your hands against the earth. On exhale, place the right hand where the left is and bring the left on the inside of that right foot. Pivot on the left toes to face them forward. This is a halfway lift version of sort of like a pyramid variation here. Exhale, surrender over the right thigh. We're going to do that 2 times. Inhale, exhale, surrendering over the right thigh. Inhale, lifting halfway. Last time, exhale, surrendering over the right thigh. Put a little bump into that right knee and bring the right foot back to meet the left. You may have to walk back a little bit for high plank. Lowering down through chaturanga or your vinyasa and inhaling upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. On inhale, lifting the left leg high, big toe towards the sky. Exhale, left leg in between the hands, straighten that left leg, drop the right foot down 45 degrees. Right hand comes to the outside of the left foot and left hand reaches up towards the sky as you revolve your torso over towards the left. Keep equal weight between both feet, pressing into the outer edge of that right foot and pressing the earth away with the left foot. Strengthen the quadriceps, protect the hamstrings as you lengthen them. You can look up at the left hand or maybe out in front of you. Keep moving the breath in and out through the nostrils. And then on exhale, releasing the left hand down where the right is, bringing the right on the inside of that left foot, pivot on the right toes to push them forward, and then exhale, bend in towards the left thigh. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, surrender yourself over that left quad. Inhale, halfway lift. Keep the breath moving deep into the belly. Exhale, surrender over that left thigh. This time bumping the left knee, bending it just a little, and then pulling that left foot back to meet the right, setting up for high plank. Lower down through your vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down facing dog. Taking 2 cycles of breath here. Regrounding, finding your center. On next inhale, lift the right leg high up towards the sky, and exhale, placing the foot in between the hands. Drop the left foot down at a 45-degree angle and bend into the right knee. Windmill the arms up, coming up into warrior 2. The hips and the shoulders and the entire torso is facing towards the side edge of the mat now. Inhale the arms up to a T shape if you let them go after the windmill. And then check in with your knee, making sure the knee is directly over the ankle. We don't want it moving past, and we kind of want it to sink deep enough that the ankle and the knee align. So allow those hips to move down as you rise the energy up through the torso and the crown of the head. Just like a warrior, stay strong, engage the arms, push them away from each other, and then gaze out over your right fingertips. Allow your breath to speak to whatever you might be feeling right now. And then on exhale, look down at the right foot, windmill the arms down to frame the right foot. Pivot the left toes to face forward, right foot back to meet left, high plank, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. 1 breath. On the next inhale, lifting the left leg high, big toe reaches towards the sky. Exhale, left foot in between the hands. Drop the right foot to a 45-degree angle and windmill the arms up to a T shape. Left leg is bent, left knee is bent. Ankle is directly over the wrist. No. Knee is directly over the ankle. And there's still weight in your outer edge of the right foot. Shoulders are directly over the hips, and you're pulling the arms away from one another. Long line of energy between fingertip and fingertip here. Sink a little deeper in those hips. Engage that left quad, left hamstring and glute. And then exhale, look down at the left foot as you windmill the arms back down to frame that foot. Pivot the right toes forward, left to meet right, high plank. Lowering down chaturanga or knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. If at any point in time you need to change up your vinyasa, please feel free to do so. You may have started with chaturangas, and now you might want to move into knees, chest, and chin. Or vice versa. Maybe you started with knees, chest, and chin, and you're starting to feel that strength build, and so you're moving into chaturangas now. On the next inhale, lift the right leg high. Exhale, right foot in between the hands. Drop the left foot to a 45-degree angle as you windmill your arms back up. Warrior two. Check in with the knees directly over the ankle, shoulders over the hips. Sink the hips low and exhale, start to reach your right arm forward until you can reach no further, and then place the forearm either on the quad or the right hand inside of the right foot. Left arm shoots up to the sky or alongside the left ears. You can look at the fingertips or out in front of you. We want to make sure we're not dumping any of our weight into our hand. So maybe move the right hand off of the mat and make sure you're holding integrity in your right thigh here. The right thigh is really doing the strength work here. The left foot is reaching back behind and we're trying to put weight into that outer edge, feeling a nice line of energy between the left heel and the left fingertips. On inhale, strengthen those legs as you rise all the way back up through center, warrior two. Straighten the right leg, bend the right leg, warrior two. Keep the arms up, straighten the right leg, bend the right leg, warrior two. One more time, straighten that right leg, bend into the right leg, stay here in your warrior two. This time, reaching back with the left arm alongside the left calf. Right arm comes up and over the right ear, reverse warrior. Keep the breath moving steady between the nostrils. On your next exhale, come back to center, swivel the arms to frame the right foot. Left toes come forward, right foot back to meet the left, lower down through your vinyasa. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. Exhale, down dog. Notice the difference between the right side and the left side right now. Maybe the right side is tingling or quivering a little bit. Maybe it feels a little more open. And prepare yourself for the left side. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, left foot in between the hands. Drop the right foot to a 45-degree angle and windmill your arms up for warrior two. Reach the left arm forward, 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 and then placing the forearm either on the left quad or the left hand inside of the left foot. Right arm reaches straight up towards the sky or alongside your right ears. Remember, don't dump all of that weight into that left hand. Instead, lift the left hand up off of the mat and see if you can support yourself with just your left leg and your right leg reaching back behind you. 2 more breaths here. Strong lines of energy from the right heel all the way to the right fingertips. And then on next inhale, strengthen your legs as you rise all the way up, warrior two. Inhale, straighten that left leg, and then exhale, bend back into the left leg, warrior two. Inhale, straighten the leg, exhale, bending back into that knee. Last time, straighten the left leg, bending back into the knee. And this time, staying in warrior two. Reach your right arm back behind you, maybe alongside the right calf. Lift the left arm up and over the left ear. Reverse warrior. On exhale, come back to center, looking down at that left foot, framing the foot with both hands. Pivot the right toes forward, left foot back to meet the right, high plank, lowering down through your vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring your awareness now to both legs. You should feel an evenness among them. Equal strength, equal space made. And then on your next inhale, lifting the right leg high. Exhale, foot between the hands. Bend into the right knee. Keep the left heel raised, so you're up on your left toes. And then inhale, rise up for a high lunge here. Check in with the hips. Pull that left hip forward and the right hip back. Square everything to the top edge of the mat as much as you can. And then sink into those hips. Arms can be up overhead. If you want a little bit more stability, go ahead and grab a hold of your hips. And then exhale, drop that left knee down just for a dip. Inhale, lift the left knee back up. Push back on that left heel. Exhale, drop that left knee down. Inhale, lifting it back up. Push back on that left heel. One more time. Drop the left knee down. Tap it. And then straighten it back out. Pushing back on that heel. Frame the right foot with both hands. This time, shorten your stance out. And drop your left foot to a 45-degree angle. Here we're going to set up for pyramid. So you might want to shorten your stance just a little bit more. Pull that left hip forward, right hip moves back, and we're in a halfway lift feeling here. Our spine is flat. You may want to use some blocks for this. One on either foot works really well. You can choose your level. We have a medium level, a high level, or the lowest level. Really moving where your practice moves you. Press into the right foot, engaging the quadricep to protect the hamstring as we lengthen it. On exhale, possibly releasing the forehead down towards the shin without tweaking the hips. So oftentimes the tendency here is we start to lower our forehead towards the shin and we start to open that left hip out towards the side. It's not what we're really looking for here. We want to try and keep those hips square to the mat. On your next inhale, halfway lift, pivot onto the left toes to face them forward. Bring that right foot back and up for a three-legged down dog. We're going to play around here in our three-legged down dog. So start to shift your shoulders over your wrists for a three-legged plank. Exhale, bending the elbows for a three-legged chaturanga. And then inhale, dropping that right foot down, tops of the feet to the mat for upward facing dog. Pull the heart between the shoulders here. Exhale, rolling over the toes, hips up and back, down dog. It's always good to have fun in our asana practice. Bringing in creativity throughout the flow, I think keeps for a light heart. Inhale, the left leg high. Exhale, left foot in between the hands. Stay high up on those right toes. As you rise up, bend the left knee, high lunge. The hands can come overhead. If you'd like a little bit more stability, hands come to the hips. Pull that right hip forward and the left hip back. Make sure everything's nice and square as you exhale, drop that right knee down to the mat and then inhale it back up. Push the right heel back. Exhale, drop the right knee down and then inhale, right leg straight, pushing the heel back. Last time, drop the knee just for a tap and then straighten it back out. Push the heel back. Frame the left foot with both hands. Shorten your stance and drop the right foot to a 45-degree angle. Left leg is straight. We're in a halfway lift here, pressing the earth away with our left foot, engaging the quadricep, protecting and lengthening the left hamstring. Pull the right hip forward and the left hip back. Keep everything nice and square here. And exhale, maybe releasing the forehead down to the earth without compromising the position of the hips here. Sink in, surrender, savor every little movement and opening that we create here today on our mats. Then on your next inhale, halfway lift. Pivot the right toes so they face forward. You may want to walk that foot back a little bit. And then bump into the left knee, bringing the left foot back behind you and up for a three-legged down dog. Exhale, shift the shoulders over the wrists for three-legged plank. And exhale, bending the elbows, three-leg chaturanga. Release the left top of the foot to the mat, right top of the foot to the mat, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe here in your down dog. On your next inhale, look between the hands, make your way to the top of the mat, halfway lift, flat spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, palms up overhead, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Swing that left leg back behind you, and then face all 10 toes to the side edge of the mat, slightly pigeon-toed. We're gonna do one more wide leg forward fold. So grab those hips, puff the heart up, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and exhale, hinging from the hips, forward fold. Crown of the head releases towards the mat. Check in with the toes, maybe releasing the hands down to the earth or on the ankles, or maybe some blocks or books. Look and see, where is the weight being primarily distributed here? On your next inhale, halfway lift, bringing the right hand in the center of the legs, like dead center, facing the fingertips towards the left foot. Inhale the left hand up, twisting over towards the left. Just look out over the side. If your neck is open enough, maybe gazing at the left thumb. Exhale the left hand right where the right is. Only this time the left fingertips face towards the right foot. Inhale, right hand up towards the sky, twisting over towards the right. Exhale, both hands back down to the mat. Give one more bow down with the crown of the head. And then on inhale, rising all the way up with strong legs, stepping the feet together, setting up for a couple of balancing poses. So check in with the feet here. We want to lift our left toes high. And then place the pinky toe down first, the ring toe, both middle toes, and then possibly the big toe. That can be a little challenging doing them one at a time, but let's try it again, only in reverse direction. So lift the left toes high, placing the big toe down, middle toes, the ring finger toe, and then the pinky toe. And then let's identify the points that we're going to be balancing on. Let's imagine that the foot has 3 points. One at the ball of the foot, one at the pinky mound of the foot, one at the big toe mound of the foot, and one at the pinky toe of the mound of the foot, and then one directly center over the heel. Let's place our left foot down and really ground down between those 3 points here on our foot. Start to lift the right foot up off the mat, just coming to tiptoes maybe at first, or completely bending the right knee. And feel what it feels like to balance there on those 3 points of the left foot. Replace the right foot down, and let's do the same for the right foot. Lift the right toes, spreading them wide, placing the pinky toe down, the ring finger toe, middle toes, and then the big toe. And again, lifting those toes high. And one foot might be a little more difficult to spread the toes than the other. No judgments. Let's try and be as equanimous as possible about our bodies. Releasing each toe down separately. And then feel what it feels like to find those 3 points. The big toe ball mound, pinky toe ball mound, and then that point directly in the center of the heel. Start to shift your weight over into the right foot and maybe lift the left foot up off the mat. Bending the knee, maybe just toe tapping that left foot. Slowly finding your balance. Releasing the left foot down to the ground. Start to shift the weight left to right, left to right. And then sitting over center or standing over center. Shifting the weight over to the left foot. Open the right knee out towards the side of the room. Bringing the sole of the foot either to the left calf or maybe the inner left thigh. You can bring this foot either right above the knee, up a little higher, or all the way to where the heel comes up towards the pelvis. What we're looking for here is an equal balance between the left thigh pressing against the right foot and the right foot pressing against the left thigh. If you had Play-Doh in between your left thigh and your right foot, it would be flat as a pancake by the time you were done here. We're really using a dynamic energy here to press both against each other. This is going to help us with our balance. And then tighten the core up. Core is huge for balance. And then find a gaze point or a drishti. Usually about 3 feet in front of you on the ground. Burn a hole into that gaze point. And then your hands can either come to heart center. If you feel very balanced here, hands can come overhead in a prayer mudra here. Make sure you're pulling the core tight. All 3 points of the foot are being activated at once. And we're pressing equal amount of pressure between left thigh and right sole of the foot. Burn a gaze or burn a hole through that gaze point. And then exhale, releasing everything down to the mat. Maybe wiggling out that left ankle a little bit. And then shift the weight over into the right foot. Open the left knee out towards the side of the room, bringing the sole of the foot either to the calf or the inner thigh. Anywhere between the top of the knee, above the knee, or all the way up to the pelvis. Just don't place the foot on the knee itself, please. Again, create that equal pressure between inner thigh and foot. Find your gaze point, tighten the core up, and then take whichever hand posture suits you. Hands at prayer mudra here at the center of the heart, or maybe overhead. Keep breathing here. The breath is steady in and out through the nostrils. Core is tight. Right inner thigh is engaged against the left sole of the foot. And then exhale, release everything back down to the mat. Maybe wiggling out that right ankle, tapping it against the earth. And one more balancing pose. So shift the weight back over into the left foot. Bend the right knee and then extend that right foot out in front of you. Grab a hold of the big toe with the peace fingers and the thumb. And if this is too challenging, let me grab my strap real quick. You can use a strap or a belt. So weight is shifted into the left foot, right knee is bent, extend that foot out and maybe wrap the strap around the sole of the right foot. Gathering the strap together in the right hand, place the left hand on the hip. If you don't need the strap, peace fingers and thumb around the big toe, left hand to the hip. Keep extending that right heel out, pulling the right toes towards the face. Keep the left leg strongly engaged, pressing and rooting down into the earth. One more breath. And then on exhale, releasing it all the way back down to the mat. We're going to repeat that for the left side now, or the right side, standing, whichever way you look at it. I'm going to put my strap over here though. Start to shift your weight over into the right foot, finding those 3 points on the foot. Find your drishti point, pull the core in tight, lift the left knee up high, extend the left foot out, and then grab a hold of either your strap or the big toe, placing the right hand on the hip. Extend that left heel out in front of you and pull the toes in towards your face. Steady balance, steady mind, steady gaze. When we're quiet like this, we can come into a meditative posture. On your exhale, releasing the left foot down to the mat. Maybe moving both feet, bending into both knees, swaying the hips right to left, shifting the weight from the right foot to the left foot, releasing that right ankle. Balancing can be physically demanding, mentally demanding. But after we've done it for many times, day in, day out, we're consistently practicing. Our entire practice becomes meditative. We move with our breath, we guide our breath, and we quiet our minds. We steady our gaze and we steady our minds. Essentially creating a much calmer, peaceful, and equanimous individual, ourselves, coming into union with our higher selves, so that in challenging situations off of the mat, we can bring that same practice that we do on the mat in challenging asanas and remember to breathe through it, to steady our gaze, and to move from a place of love. I'm so grateful that you have checked out this foundational standing movement yoga practice that we've done today for building your own practice at home. I hope you join me next week where we will go through the seated poses, and then we're going to start really combining things together, really fluidly moving from one pose to another so that you can learn how to build on different flows, move through one vinyasa into another asana. I hope to see you next week. Namaste.